Okay, we're going to go ahead and jump in. First of all, welcome, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. We try to do these all-hands calls quarterly, and it's a great opportunity for us to do a few things. Number one, we want to celebrate you, the people that make up the business, because you are what makes this business run successfully. Everyone in the room, everyone joining us remotely that works in administrative roles, all of our superintendents, everyone in the field, you're what makes our business successful, and so we want to take this opportunity to thank you and to celebrate all that you've done to keep APM winning. It's also a great chance for us to talk a little bit about some of the important things going on across the organization, maybe give you an opportunity to see different parts of the organization, things that you don't hear about or deal with every day. And it's also a great chance for you to ask questions. So the first 30 minutes of this call is structured for our leadership to be able to provide a bit of a business update to you, share some exciting things going on with APM with you, and then we leave about 30 minutes on the tail end that you can submit your questions. There's a couple of ways you can do that, and I'll remind you here in a bit. But if you're joined over the phone, we do ask that you remain on mute for the entire call so that we don't have a lot of feedback or issues with people talking over one another. We do have almost 120 participants. We may have other people joining us as well. We've certainly got a lot of people in the room. But if you do want to ask questions, we certainly encourage that. Those of you in the room will have the opportunity to ask it live. I will bring you the microphone. Please do wait for the microphone because we want everyone to have the opportunity to hear your question. Also, if you're joined over Skype, you'll be able to insert it into the Skype live chat, or you can respond to the email that I just sent out. You're welcome to submit your questions to me via email. If they come over the Skype or over the email, I will read them out on your behalf, and then we'll delegate them to the leaders to answer. All right. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jake.
So I gotta eat this thing. Good afternoon. I told her I'm not good at eating mics. Eating ice cream cones? Yes. Mics? No. Good afternoon. We have some that may still be good mornings. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad we have a pretty full room here today. It feels a lot better to be able to talk to eyeballs. Also to have people seeing us online as well. It's always encouraging to see as well as to hear. I told the team that I thought that the first 30 minutes would be 20 minutes. And I know there are wagers going on right now to see whether or not that's actually a reality, because one thing the team knows about me is I like to hear myself talk. So we'll see if that 20 minutes is actually a reality or not. So start the clock. And I'm putting $20 down right now that we'll be under 20 minutes, and we'll see where that goes. First, from a culture moment standpoint, we're going to talk about safety a lot, which everybody should by now expect. But from a culture moment standpoint, I'm going to borrow something from one of our superintendents, Mike Bush, CBS roll call. He goes online and he asks for, how you doing on your CBS? I've had my chiefs here for 2 days, and we've been in a room working on strategy for next year and beyond. And we went through that exercise at the beginning of the meeting. What's our CBS for these next 2 days? Well, I want to share with you to get you thinking is we had the standard stuff from a physical safety standpoint. Push in chairs, look at other slip, trip, and fall hazards, get up periodically so we're not getting stove up and sitting down for a while. Definitely driving associated with coming and going, particularly in the evenings, because we're leaving when it's still dark. So we covered all the physical stuff. But we also, and what was really more impactful to us, or just as impactful, let's say, is the mental side of being together for 2 days. I wanted to share 3 things that we were focused on. We'll come back and evaluate these again at the end of the day. Accomplishing something. We've got a list of topics we're working through. Are we checking them off? Are we getting momentum? Are we actually clearing the deck on that? Or at least building momentum so we're not just talking, we're actually got some action behind it. Are we thinking strategically, or are we falling down into tactical? And And our chiefs need to be thinking strategically. Tactical happens at other levels of the organization. Our job is to be strategic. Our job is to look ahead. So how well are we doing with that? And then the third thing was sustainability. And we're looking at ourselves and we're expecting ourselves to change, constantly change. And I'll talk more about that in a couple of minutes. Are we modeling that behavior for ourselves? In that room, are we changing the way we think and how we interact with each other and how we see the role of a chief? Because we constantly got to elevate. We constantly have to elevate our positions and elevate others within this organization if we really want to grow and improve. So as we talk about CBS, which is a core fundamental principle of how we operate as an organization, I encourage you to think about the physical side of things. How do you physically keep yourself safe? But how do you mentally stay in the game? Just as important as the physical side. How are you mentally staying in the game? So I want to give a brief business update, where we're at today, where we're headed into the future. I'm going to ask Bruce to say a few words on finances. And again, as Katie said, we're going to get into your questions. So reflecting back on this year, because this will be the last time we talk to each other, reflecting back on the year and looking at 2019 when we started, day one. I think our message was pretty clear and simple. Have to fix safety. We hurt too many people last year. We have to fix safety. And we need to protect our credibility by meeting the financial commitments to our shareholders. Two basic things we need to get done this year. In addition, we're introducing a lot of change within the organization. We had looked back at the organization, some areas we had not changed or evolved in 7+ years. So we introduced some change. How we were aligned as a business, what our lines of business look like. And so we entered into 2019 with lots of change, got to fix safety, maintain our credibility. As I look at where we're at today and what our current status is, from a safety perspective, I think we have been holding steady since late spring. And if you look at our metrics on performance, particularly on injuries, we have been a sort of a straight line throughout since mid-spring. I&I rate under 1, which is where we need to get to this year. We're hovering right at 0.9. First aids, injuries are cut about 40% from where they were last year. So we've done a tremendous job improving, and we need to celebrate that. That still means right now we've got 18 people that were seriously injured and over 50 that had some first aid treatment. That's too much. We have made some improvements. So hold that thought. Safety, we have made some improvements, and I'd say we're holding steady. Volume, we had an aggressive plan. Bruce is going to talk about that. We had an aggressive plan. Volume this fall has been light. So we're looking at, are we going to be able to meet some of the financial commitments that we walked into the year with? I'll turn it over to Bruce to talk about that in a second. And then the third thing, with all the change that was going on within the organization, we have adapted to that well. I'm proud of how this organization has gone with that change. What challenge we have now for the fourth quarter particularly is prioritizing and executing. Lots of things we're doing, lots of things that we want to finish up at the end of the year. How do we prioritize so we don't get, all that change doesn't get us in a big circle. We don't get anything done and closed out. So that's where I think we're at as a business right now. I want to give the mic to Bruce. Bruce is going to talk a little bit more about the financial, and then we'll come back and revisit a couple of things.
So, unlike Jake, I don't like to listen to myself talk, so this will be brief. 2019 as Jake alluded to, was a very optimistic plan. We had a high expectation for growth, both organically with existing scopes and then with new kind of business ventures or new scopes that we had targeted to go after. Unfortunately, a lot of that growth has not materialized. And the real unfortunate thing about that is that the way we built the plan was that the proceeds of that that were going to come from that growth were going to be used to underwrite more investment into our business, whether it be investment in our people with training or investment with into tools that we needed to run our business, and just back into the people. But I do want to make it clear that we have had still significant investment back into the company. I mean, when it's all said and done with, from an awards perspective, awards, bonus, IC, Christmas cheer, we are doing Christmas cheer again this year, if you haven't heard. I mean, we're gonna see upwards of $1 million invested back into the business in the form of additional compensation. We've got $3 million operating plan or plan for the LBC for training, and we've got almost $1 million in CapEx spend that we're gonna do. So we are still doing significant investment in the business. So I wanna make that clear. It's just incremental business we're not able, or incremental investment we're not able to do. But where are we through 3 quarters? Again, the volume is coming in light, but that volume was gonna be reinvested. So we're just not doing the reinvestment, so our bottom line is staying flat, or we're staying whole. So at the end of the 3rd quarter, we were about $600,000 off plan, or where we wanted to be, which gave me optimism going into the 4th quarter, because the 4th quarter plan was soft, and we typically have a pretty heavy 4th quarter. As Jake alluded to, again, the volume for the 4th quarter is below what we've historically done, in the neighborhood of about 20%, 25%, depending on what area you're looking at. So I do have some real concerns about whether or not we're gonna meet our plan for this year. Right now, it's looking like we're gonna be $2 to $3 million when you look at the overall business of falling short of our plan, which I think in the 10 years or so that I've been here, this will probably be one of the first times where we're not going to meet our obligation or plan. So that concerns me a little bit. But a lot of that volume hopefully is looking like it's being pushed off into next year. We are still expecting a pretty heavy fall. So we're still very optimistic, very a busy spring. So we are pretty optimistic that next year we're going to recover, and we're looking good for at least through the first half next year from what we can see.
So let me back up. If you asked me to pick one of 2 things, we make investments in the business and we improve our safety performance by 40+%, and you miss your financial number, or you make your financial number but you don't invest in the business and you still have people hurt, what choice am I making? I'm making number 1 every single second. And that's what we've done. What we've also done is, because you are such a great cost steward,